Greetings, I'm Sophis. It's been a while since I've covered Warhammer 3, so I thought I'd come back and show off the light mod list that I often run in playthroughs to make the experience more enjoyable. Today, I'll be going over the early game mods that I use. One mod that is still indispensable for me is choose starting units. I've showcased it before in a short and it remains in my list. The early game in Warhammer tends to feel samey after a while if you play a lot of a specific faction. You always get the same preset army and sometimes you want to shake it up. Or you want to try a new unit in an old faction, and you don't want to wait several turns until you can recruit it. Obviously, depending on your skill level or on the faction roster, this can make your start position easier. If you care about the change to difficulty, you can always alter the amount of gold that this feature gives you to rehire your army, thanks to another mod, the MCT or Mod Configuration tool. That way you can play around with the amount that feels right for you without losing the benefit of swapping your starting army for a fresher experience. In the same vein of keeping the early game interesting, Nanu's Dynamic Regiments of Renown is a fun addition that rewards you for keeping a unit alive and have it perform well in battle. The whole point of the mod is giving your units a modifier that makes them similar to a Regiment of Renown. That means higher stats, unique abilities, and so on. With the default settings, you get one for free on your first battle with the mod installed. But afterwards, you need to fulfill some requirements to get that Regiment of Renown. Like the previous mod, you can tweak a lot of its configurations with the MCT. Personally, the default settings work for me just fine. Not all factions are covered by this mod, but a good handful of them are. And given the idea of modding the early game is to make things feel different with each new playthrough, having a different modifier to any one of your army units from the get-go is a good way to shake things up. For the next mod, I was considering whether I would include this on a separate video or in this one, but I think it qualifies as an early game mod, Warband Upgrade Ultimate. This mod gives factions access to the Warband upgrade system that Warriors of Chaos get. Personally, I think a lot of the factions should have this mechanic, as it also rewards you for keeping units alive and lets you upgrade your veterans rather than having to disband them when you want to upgrade your army. Who and what can be promoted vary from faction to faction, but overall the choices make sense. I'll just give a small warning that, unfortunately, this mod and Nanu's Dynamic Regiments of Renown have a small incompatibility, insofar as if you promote a unit that has a Dynamic Regiment of Renown bonus, it will lose that bonus once it gets promoted. I wouldn't say this makes the two mods unplayable together, since normal Regiments of Renown are meant to be specific special units. There's a sub-mod you can get alongside this one, Warband Cross Race. This lets you promote cross-faction units, which, if you play around with the alliances, this makes it much more worthwhile. In fact, Ogre Camp Mercenaries get a lot more value, since the pretty basic ogres that you can hire can end up getting promoted into more interesting units like Lead Belchers. The balancing of this is questionable, but you do have to pay for these promotions with unit ranks and gold, so the cost is keeping those allied units alive and using them enough to get them to that point. Put together, these mods shake up your early game considerably, so even if you're playing a faction or campaign where you don't get too much growth or military recruitment buildings early, you can still get a variety of units through experience and veterancy. The one unit that made a difference in a battle gets a special flavor that can change how you deploy it in future engagements, and you can play around with a few higher tier units without having to wait so long that you're in the mid to late game and you've already snowballed. So those are my recommendations with a focus on the early game experience. I wanted to keep this one short, but I have other mods that I would consider part of the light mod list to make a campaign more engaging overall. I'm considering doing a part 2 to this, going over those and showing a bit of everything working together. Please do let me know if you'd like that. And for those of you who keep up with me for my Age of Wonder stuff, don't worry, I have a few more builds I've been working on. And that's what I have for you today. I hope you're having a good day and see you in the next one.